Finally this week, a bit of art. Now, a few months back, you might remember I filmed a story about Qatar's wealth of art investments. Well, to follow up on that and to see just how much ongoing interest there is in art in this part of the world, I went to a Sotheby's contemporary art auction here this week. And the prices, like the art, were pretty impressive. My guide for the day was Sotheby's Middle East director, Lena Lazar. So Lena, we're standing here looking at any number of pieces which could be from any part of the world, and I guess that's the important thing now, that even though we're in Doha and we're looking at Middle Eastern art and international art, it's all together.
Absolutely, that's the beauty of this exhibition. We are now almost like playing a trick on our viewer and trying to, place the works in an interesting way that really doesn't very much allow for anyone to create a distinction as to what is from where and how.
So let's start with these two pieces over here then, which you were telling me about earlier. The one on the left, this large screen one.
Absolutely, that's a Forces of Nature painting by Lucian Smith, who's this really hot and up-and-coming LA-based artist that we're very excited to have for the first time in Doha. So that's a very quite an exciting work.
And because we're on an economics and a business program, I've got to talk numbers. What are you hoping for something like that?
To give you an idea, this is priced at $80,000 to $100,000, but this is something that in normal days in London or New York would fetch about $200,000 easy.
Right.
Easy. So the estimates are very conservative, and for us the idea was really to try and kind of promote locally the visibility of these younger, up-and-coming, maybe Western artists in the GCC. And the next to it's called The Chase by Ali Benisadr, who's this really hot young Iranian artist. He's based in New York. He's working in New York. He was trained in the US as well. But to give you a sense of the value and perspective to things, this is an artist who would have sold perhaps in the last maybe 18 months to 2 years for anywhere between $40,000 and $60,000 dollar mark. We're offering this specific work, which is a very strong example, possibly the best one to ever come up at auction, at $180,000 to $250,000. And quite frankly, I would be very surprised if the work sold within that estimate.
What sort of time frame is that increase coming over?
Oh, in the last 2 years, the big
quickly,
jump, very quickly. But this specific work will sell for a lot more than the estimates, for sure.
Lena, this is one of those moments where I look at it and say, I don't know
what you're looking at, huh?
Well,
it's very overwhelming.
It is. Tell me, Anish Kapoor, for instance.
Anish Kapoor, this is a work we're so excited to have here because, as part of that ongoing dialogue I was telling you about earlier, we're very keen on being very specific with the sort of work by international and Western artists we're bringing here. So in this context, Anish Kapoor is obviously one of the most incredible sculptors of our time. He's originally from India, practicing in London, and he's a world-renowned artist. But in this context of the sale, we thought, if we're going to bring any dish by Anish Kapoor is, nice, but what would be really even nicer is to be able to be in a position to bring something with a cultural reference to the place we're exhibiting the work in. And this series is heavily inspired by Islamic art, and the whole idea of the pixelation being inspired by the Islamic tiles, ceramics, and mosaics, exactly. So this work made even more sense here, which is the reason why. But can you tell me?
I don't want to be capitalist about it, but put a price tag on this for me, or what you're expecting.
We're expecting this work is priced at $700,000 to $900,000, but it is incredibly well, priced in the sense that a work like this would sell normally and on a normal day for anywhere between $1.2 $1.4 million. So we're being very conservative. We're trying to really make it, approachable and accessible. Yes, absolutely.
So then you were telling me about modern masters being on show here, and that kind of leads me to this very basic idea that this is where the money is, the Middle East, and therefore that's why a group like Sotheby's is here. Things have dipped away in Europe and the United States over the last few years, so you come here.
I'd like to say that this could be an interesting way of looking at it, and it's probably the usual simplistic, kind of understanding of what it is that we're trying to do, but absolutely not. Honestly, the market couldn't be stronger right now than London and New York. With Frieze coming up, we've seen incredible potential sales happening next week. The sales are very strong. And there's no recession in the art market at the moment, absolutely not. And so being here in Doha is really it's a much more in-depth strategy for us of really bringing the best of Middle Eastern and Western to the region, and it has a much stronger educational component, I'd like to say. So it's really, over the last 8 years, we tried to create that, stronger understanding of the market.
Right. And how interested are international investors in Middle Eastern art?
Well, so far we've had, very good interest. I mean, the last 8 years our sales have been growing. Last year, as you know, we've had the world record sale for a Middle Eastern contemporary art auction, with reaching over $15 million of sales. So it was, we're getting there. There's definitely an interest, both from institutions and everyday collectors, and the market is slowly building up. So it's very exciting to be here at this time of year.